The Connecticut Music Oral History Podcast is a deep dive interview series with musicians, artists, conduits, collectors, and dedicated fans, focusing on 20th century Connecticut music history. This project preserves narratives, heralds unsung movers and shakers, and defines Connecticut's influential role in cultural history. I'm your host, Brendan Toller. I'm an artist, a musician, a filmmaker, and marketing manager of the incredible Verso studios at the Westport Library, where this very podcast is being produced. Verso Studios is a media resource and production hub, serving as an inclusive, empowered, future-forward cultural and learning center. A library branch of the 21st century, Verso Studios provides programming, commercial services, as well as educational and content creation opportunities. We have a state-of-the-art hybrid analog recording studio designed in part by Rob Fraboni, the same guy who built Keith Richards' home studio down the road. We record bands, artists, audiobooks, podcasts, and everything in between. We have video production suites, classes, and events. Check us out at the Verso Studios website and on social media. Big Al Anderson is a Connecticut legend who really needs no introduction, but in the event this conversation runs a little inside baseball, let me be brief. Big Al first entered the charts in 1967 with No Good to Cry by the Wild Weeds, an iconic 60s song covered by many and featured in countless soundtracks. Al graduated to NRBQ in 1971, where he rocked with the band for 22 years. NRBQ's legend looms larger day by day, with tons of musicians and artists counted among their legions of dedicated fans, including Bonnie Raitt, Paul McCartney, Keith Richards, Lou Reed, and many more, just to drop a few names. In 1993, Al pivoted to his songwriting career in Nashville, penning hits for the likes of Vince Gill, Bonnie Raitt, Trisha Yearwood, Patti Loveless, George Jones, Sheryl Crow, Tim McGraw, Rascal Flatts, Zac Brown, Harry Connick Jr., and many others. This week, the Yellowstone version of Tim McGraw's The Cowboy and Me sits in the top 5 on the U.S. country charts. The song was written by Al years ago, where it hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs. This week you can catch Big Al in Connecticut at very special full band, full rock and roll gigs. Thursday and Friday, December 16th and 17th at Hartford Infinity Hall. Saturday, December 18th at Stage 1 Fairfield, and Sunday, December 19th at Norfolk Infinity Hall. Find tickets and more info on bigalanderson.com/events. Here's our conversation. All right, Al, take us back. Your mom, was she classically trained?
Yes, Yale.
And your dad played the bass?
Yep.
Did they help you out with music at all, or?
No, not at all. Didn't know my dad, really. He left.
He left? Because I was going to, yeah.
He had a drinking problem. And you never take lessons from your parents anyway. It just doesn't work.
Did you attempt at one point? Or too frustrating, huh?
Yeah, I don't think anybody can.
Did your mom mind rock and roll?
She didn't understand it, I can't understand the words, that kind of stuff.
But she didn't mind that you were into it.
But nobody liked it. I mean, they came from a place where all the good songs were great, and American Songbook. So, and then listening to this primitive stuff, it was kind of.
So if you were,
they couldn't believe it got on the radio.
But if you were stuck, you were on your own, huh?
Yeah.
So you were, I'm guessing, mostly self-taught by just repeating records over and over.
Yep. The Ventures, Duane Eddy. Those are all pretty easy to play.
But then at some point you developed your own style. Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know when. I don't think my own style until, if that's what it is, so after NRBQ.
You think so? Yeah.
Kind of, but towards the end.
Mm-hmm. But where did that real shredding stuff come from, Where you go wild and it's like you're going to snap a Telecaster in half.
But I'm not. It just looks like it.
So it's like it's a rock and roll kind of show thing.
Yeah, but some of the grooves came from Ray Charles and after those guys, the Ventures and all that stuff. There's a guy in town Ray Ziner, who became in the Wild Weeds. And he had a gig in the north end of Hartford, which is all black clubs. Still to this day, the best thing I ever did.
What was going on in the north end of Hartford? Because when I was reading up on all this, like, I didn't know. I mean, first of all, you played with King Curtis a bunch, but Cannonball Adderley, Sonny Rollins, Yusuf Lateef.
That's more Ray Ziner. I only sat in with King Curtis.
But what was the scene in north end of Hartford like, where you got some of your chops, I guess?
Well, we were like the only three people that were white.
So that was you?
Yeah, and the organ and drums. Once in a while, there'd be a saxophone. Sometimes they'd have black players, too. But it's just, it was the greatest, especially on Sunday afternoon. It was, the crowd was just the best. And when you got an ovation from the whole black thing, it was just like, ah.
You made it.
Yeah. Or at least I tried.
How did you happen upon it, though? How do you even know? Or you guys go searching or something like that?
Because Ray Ziner he already had the gig.
He did?
Yeah, before the Wild Weeds.
And that was just...
He was playing on Farmington Avenue with a place called Tony Romano's Hofbrau.
Hofbrau House,
That's where
right?
he had the gigs with the Cannonball Adderley and all that stuff. So he did other things like on the north end. It's just a jazz organ trio. Sometimes with a saxophone or something. It was just great. I'll never forget it. I don't know why it had such an effect on me. Just finding out about black people and in the music.
Well, also I would assume, like, I mean, do you remember your first time playing in that club? Like, I would assume, like, if I got up to play in front of a crowd like that and I didn't have the chops, I wouldn't want to dare show my face around there until I knew, I had the goods next time.
I didn't know I didn't have the goods. That was a secret I didn't know yet. I think we started off with the Red Ash on Farmington Avenue.
So there was a bunch of clubs on Farmington Ave, huh?
Just that one.
Just that one.
All the ones were on Main Street, North Main Street. There was one called the Subway Lounge, and we did that a couple times. Backed up the Drifters. They had like 5 Drifters groups going around the country.
So it was one of the Drifters.
Yeah, so we got to pick it up. And my first time of getting screwed in the music business is at the end of the night. The guy was a politician. His name was something Mathis or something. He says, "Now you sign here saying we gave you 15, and then we give you 10."
And it was all downhill.
And it's still going on.
Huh? Yeah,
it's still going on today.
Yeah. You did play with King Curtis once, right?
I sat in.
What was that like?
I just wanted to play soul. What was his first hit there? And he played on all the coaster stuff. And Lieber and Stoller. Let me just tell you, anybody wants the greatest rock and roll of all is Lieber and Stoller and Carole King.
Goffin.
They really cared about the song and how it sounded and producing it. It's not just here's a song, I'm on to the next one. These guys, they wrote Hound Dog, Lieber and Stoller, Loving You. It just keeps going and on. Stand By Me, Peggy Lee. Is that all there is? They're the Jewish guys in New York City on all the Broadway stuff. That's where all that great music had started, and they knew how to make money and be the greatest songs ever, all in one thing. That pisses me off.
Do you think about them when you're songwriting?
No, not really. Just when I'm listening.
Going back a bit, how did you get the transmission from WWVA? Just by like freak sci-fi chance? I mean, that's West Virginia radio, right?
I just had it. Just, it's easy to listen to when I was a kid.
But getting that in Connecticut seems like a stretch.
Yeah, but it just had the radio on.
And it came through.
And it had guitars. I didn't know any better. But it was great to start off like that.
But you didn't have to did you listen like the quintessential kid with the transistor radio under the pillow, or you just listened all the time?
Just when I was going to sleep, because it only came in at nighttime. WWVA, it was a trucker station. At night and AM, you could hear it all over the country for some reason. Stars or something, I don't know.
And what blew your mind?
What?
Like on that, what artists? Do you remember? Like probably Everly Brothers.
It wasn't that was before it.
Oh, it was, yeah. So what was
it was
coming
before
through?
the Everly? It was before rock and roll.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't really know any of it. Webb Pierce. That was my first album. Fair and Young. Just a little bit before Elvis.
But real pickers, with those guys.
Singers.
Oh, singers for you.
Yeah. I don't know who was playing. Just listen to the, I didn't know anything. So I can't, you're asking questions I'm not aware of.
I understand. Did Dick Provost show you a thing or two?
Well, he used to hate my guts because I came in without practicing. And I didn't realize until 6 years ago, that I can't focus on the page.
Do you know how to read charts?
No. I know how, I just can't.
Was part of it he didn't want to teach rock and roll, or was it just Dick?
Dick?
Yeah.
No, it was just that my technique wasn't getting any better because I'm not reading what's in front of me because I can't. I still can't today.
I've heard you were a pretty square kid.
Yep. I was really square. I read somewhere, that sounds like Johnny Carson.
I don't know about that. And the Little Al recording, how'd that come about?
Just friends of the family. Just taped it in a Wallen sack.
Would you perform in the house, with your guitar? Would you put on a show for people sometimes?
No, we're just over at their house, not my house.
Was there a point where you said this is what I'm doing the rest of my life?
Yeah.
When?
When I was 6.
When you had just the acoustic guitar in hand and you knew?
My brother-in-law had I just saw it and said, I'm going to do that. Didn't even know what it sounded like. So I got a guitar when I was 9. And back then, the cheaper the guitar, the more hard it was to play because it was
really bad action.
Yeah. Oh. Impossible to play.
But somehow you got through it. You made it work.
Yeah. And there was this guy, and the same people that recorded that, he would show up when it was time for me without even knowing it. He'd bring me another guitar. Had a Cameo, as I remember it. And when I outgrew that, went electric, he just came over and gave me a Dan Electro. It was like...
So he's kind of feeding you, huh?
Mm. Yeah.
He saw something in you, maybe.
He's a great guy. I'll never forget that guy. I just talked to him the other day. He's going to come out to Santa Fe.
Whoa.
Hopefully.
So bands, you started, the Visuals?
Yeah. You have to see us to believe it. That's what... Not hear us. See us.
What was the visual gag then?
There wasn't any. It was just looking for a name.
Your first gig and how much you were paid. You remember that?
The Terrafil.
Terraville or Terryville?
Terrafil. It's right near Granby. It's $25 at a luncheon for the whole band. The visuals.
So you were what, 11, 12, 13?
12, I think. We stunk. It was awful.
What was the occasion? It was like a family outing or something?
No, the guy just wanted us to, I don't know how it came along.
And what was your set like, 20 minutes?
If that. It was Dwayne Eddy and the Ventures and out.
I will say you guys had good names because you had the Impalas, the Six Packs, the Ray Mill Brass Trio, which you think that was your finest hour. Yeah?
The Black Clubs?
Well, I mean, is that where Ray Mill Brass Trio played?
Yeah.
What was the set like? Were you guys just kind of doing instrumentals or R&B tunes? Or?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes Ray would sing. Mostly like jazz blues, where nobody's singing, just taking off. And you play a couple things, and then he would play a couple, and I would do a couple. And you make the song, it's just blues and with a little bit of jazz.
So how did the Weeds come about?
Everybody played that club. And Alex and Andy, their father had a drum shop. So was that part of it too. But mostly everybody would play these places, and not all of us at one time. But along the way, we all played there.
Once the Beatles play Ed Sullivan, do you see like a rush of kids getting guitars and drums around you, or you guys were into it from the start, kind of?
Oh yeah, way back before.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you guys were the Weeds and then the Wild Weeds, who were your contemporaries? Like what were your competitive bands or bands that you guys played with?
Around here?
Yeah.
The Nocturnes and the Impalas, we were like friendly stuff. I think that's about it.
No Squires or Blue Beats?
No.
No?
We didn't look at that as that.
Right. But you would play what, like
we made
sock hops or something?
We made No Good to Cry by ourselves. And it just sat in a can. And that's when that guy, he had nothing to do with it. It says he produced it, and Jerry Greenberg produced it, but none of them were there.
Well, you did it at Trod Nossel, though, right?
Yeah.
So Doc was there, right?
No, he was a dentist. He was filling teeth that day. I shit you not.
So then who hit record?
The engineer. But Ray Ziner did care about all this stuff. We just wanted to go in and make a record.
So Ray might have produced it then.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Mm-hmm. And then, more music biz. Is that tale of, them signing the contract in the East Haven drive-in, Jerry Greenberg, Doc Cavalier?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, but it seemed like you had kind of WDRC on your side.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Bertha Porter was a lady that decided a lot, and she had a lot of power in the industry besides Hartford.
I mean, you guys had a lot of people pulling for you. Seemed.
When it came out, people, they asked people to stop calling the station and all that. We're at McDonald's going, eating hamburgers and fries and stuff. And we instantly went to like, Fatso to Big Al I was.
You were called Fatso before?
Well, I
understand.
I had some cred.
Do you think, from 64 to 68, the music changed so much? Do you think a lot of it was just like fads? When you have like somebody like the Doug Somm who's like acting British, so they could get a hit. Like, were you guys weren't? Did you guys feel like you had to fit in a certain sense?
Everything was a mishmash. There's nowhere to fit in because you can't really say, what is this? What kind of music is this? It was all things crazy back then. Cool, too, I thought. It's good to see a whole bunch of junk instead of just one thing.
Yeah, it was super. I mean, even look at the charts back then. It was super eclectic.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Through it all, it was Ray Charles.
Probably still is for you, right?
In Atlantic.
Yeah.
The Drifters. Leiber and Stoller, I didn't even know who they were back then. Those are my heroes for songwriters. Rock and roll.
I'm a huge Coasters fan, so.
Me too.
Leiber and Stoller, you know.
Drifters.
So No Good to Cry it's covered by a lot of people, but one sort of significant cover is, you know, for me at least, is the Box Tops one, because, you know, you were very young when you got into the music industry, as was Alex Chilton, and Alex Chilton's had a really varied career, and I guess I just wondered if you ever met him or you guys ever crossed paths.
No, but the letter blew everybody's mind for some reason. It was just great.
It's an amazing song. I think it's a quintessential pop song under 3 minutes. Like, I think it's like 2:20 or something like that.
Yeah.
How did you, and speaking of the upcoming shows, how did you and Christine get acquainted?
I don't remember. I knew her when she was 16.
Probably Nashville connection.
They opened for us. That's why.
Right. I'm trying to think of. I'm sorry, Christine. I'm trying to think of the band that they had back then. Had a really cool name.
It's not coming to me either.
Yeah.
What was it? One black bag.
That's what it is.
Something
Yes.
like,
Yeah. There it is. Was it hard to go to high school?
Wrong back.
Yeah. Was it hard to go to high school when you're, you know, playing shows with the Doors?
I was already out.
You are?
Yeah.
But you were playing black clubs in high school, though, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
I was 15.
Must have been a chore then to go... You would skip school, I would guess.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible. I went from the honor roll to just having to go to summer class to get out.
But you graduated, yeah?
Yeah, after everybody else. I had to go to school, night school or something. I knew it was going to be music for me by then.
Did Wild Weeds tour a lot in the States?
Nope. Just did one tour out near Chess.
But you played with bands of the day, right? I mean, like...
What do you mean?
I mean, you must have played with... I know you were on a bill with the Doors, for example, but...
Yeah, there wasn't that much stuff, though.
No, there wasn't, yeah. What was that like? Do you remember that?
We played a place called Grandmother's. And we wanted to meet Chess and, you know, go to see the studio and all that stuff. And so it was in East Lansing, Michigan, and nobody was there except this one guy, one black guy. And I did not know how great he was yet. It was Chuck Berry. So I think Chess probably wanted to see how we were live or something. And he came in with just one of them and shook his hand and said, "How you doing?" And then back to the stage, like an idiot.
But what would you have said to him? I mean, other than...
Yeah, what can you say to him?
Yeah.
All you can do is say thanks.
Right.
Everybody owes him $1 million, including you.
Yeah, including you, Al. When was the first time you heard NRBQ? Do you remember?
Yes, it was in Springfield. No, I can't remember I don't remember the theater.
It's all right. Springfield.
They would do a song and then get off stage for like 20 minutes. before they came back. It was loose. It was still that way when I got in, but it was crazy.
So how long were their shows from start to end?
It's good. I don't know. I can only remember what I met Ferguson, told him how great he was, and that's as close as I got. But I'd already bought the albums.
What were your impressions of Steve's playing?
He's one of the greatest of all times in rock and roll.
There's this YouTube video of one of the reunion shows, like a fan shot video, and it's you and Steve on stage, I think at the Iron Horse, and Steve's taking a solo, he's sitting down, you're standing up, and you're just watching him like a hawk.
That was the tribute we did to him?
It must have been, yeah.
Yeah, he was really sick.
But I'm bringing this up to say that, like, even just, 10, 15 years ago, he's, like, clearly still a hero of yours.
Oh, yeah. All you just Flatfoot Floozy, just the intro is all you need. If you listen how intricate all these things are that he does, he must have gone to sleep with that guitar and woke up with it.
How long did it take you to get that?
I still can't do it.
I can't.
I don't think anybody can. I really don't. I can get close.
Yeah, it's amazing. So when you started in the band, it was Tom Staley on drums, right?
Right.
And then eventually...
He was great.
Oh, yeah. I've seen him a couple times. He's a great drummer. But I guess the Q did a show with the Wild Weeds, and that was sort of like a secret audition or something like that. I mean, did you have any feeling like... they asked you to join, I guess, right?
Yeah. Long story short. But two guys, I can't remember their names now, were at Kent School. And they somehow it ended up that we went up and played up in New York, Clinton Corners or something like that. And that's what happened. And they called me and it disbanded the band. Just to do it. I had to do it. Knowing we're probably never ever going to make any money, but I'm going to learn something.
Because you knew that those guys were just such great players?
Yeah.
They
didn't pay attention to the charts or anything like that. I already knew I was in for that, but it was worth it.
Was it a huge education?
Totally.
Like, did you feel like you were off the deep end?
I didn't know anything when I got in there. And now that I'm out, I know a little bit. Hopefully.
So, and I think what people also forget, because they think of the classic lineup, right? And they forget that Tommy joined like right out of high school. Tommy Ardolino. What was that like? Because he was like a super fan. Like, if you hear one of his records that they put out, and that record store Mystery Train put a record of his out, he's doing like clavinet experiments, and it's like he's like NRBQ fan number 1 before he even joins the band. So what was that like? Well,
I guess he just came to all the gigs, and he got to know Terry or something. And Tom, the other Tom, went out to the bus. He thought the gig was over. So the new Tom got up and started playing, and he did really good. And then him and the first Tom and Steve Ferguson decided they were going to go off on their own, which I didn't think lasted very long. And then the lead singer left to do what he wanted to do. So that's what we had left over. So I started singing.
But you sang before. Were you confident as a singer by then, or no, you had to really come into it?
No, I was okay by then. Easily.
I think you're one of the great vocalists of all time. I mean, rock vocalists.
But you're easily amused. But thanks, Annie. I appreciate that.
Were the chords insane for NRBQ?
The what?
The chords.
Much more chords. Yeah. They knew jazz and I didn't. So that was something I'm still trying to learn that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't read. In jazz, you have to be able to read. Mostly.
Yeah. What was your inspiration for the NRBQ song "Riding in My Car"?
Brian Wilson. Don't Worry, Baby. I just listened to it when I listened to it, I listened to it about 12 times every time I put it on. That's where that came from. After that, I just wrote the song to that trying to be them.
Then it came out in what, like 10 minutes? You had it written 5? Longer than that, a day? How long did it take to write "Ride in My Car"?
Hour, I guess.
Did that feel like a real anthem for you? It was an anthem for a lot of people.
I didn't even know if the band was going to like it or anything. I just wrote it, brought it in.
But then when you guys played at shows, you guys must know that's like your fan favorite.
I don't know about that. I think there's that part of the band, but there's also Get Rhythm and
definitely.
Ain't It All Right and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's the coolest, easygoing song. I love it now more than ever.
Why is that?
It's fun to play.
I mean, at its height, you guys sound and look like you guys are having the greatest time.
Yeah. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
When I look back on it.
And then by 93, what made you say, like, I gotta make a change for myself?
After Yankee Stadium, things got weird. That's a nice way to put it. And it just got more weird and more weird. And I was just drinking and doing coke and all this stuff. And I finally went into AA and got my stuff together. And we were playing out in Long Beach. And Carlene Carter and the bass player from Tom Petty, what was it? Howie Epstein. They came to get us to go up to their house and sing a unison part, which we did. She came down the next night. We started talking about she was straight and I'm straight, and let's write a song. So after the tour, I went back out there and we wrote Every Little Thing and another song that made it in the Maverick movie soundtrack. And in that, just right after that, I called, I was drunk when I met her, Pat McMurray, which is Webb Wilder's wife.
Well, she wanted to work with you. Right?
Yeah, she wanted to sign me.
But as a songwriter.
I was still smashed, so I called her 6 months later and said, I'm ready to go. So in that interim, that song got cut, and it went top 5 all over the world.
Is that a shocker for you?
Every little thing. It was a shocker when I went to the mailbox.
Good paycheck,
and it was a great record, too.
So then from there on, did she kind of just assist you and kind of...
No, I stayed in the band. I mean, I was until, I don't know, maybe another year. 2 years. I think I was there 2 years when I was sober.
Were you confident in the jump to songwriter? You know, from being in that band, or was it like scary? Were you like, I might fall flat on my face?
Yep, I just took a shot, not knowing what was ever going to happen. But actually, it worked out really fast. I had that hit, and a lot of the musicians and the producers down there were NRBQ fans, so it made it a lot easier for me to go through the fight you have to go through to get through.
Mm-hmm. And you probably weren't surprised that there were so many Q fans that wanted to work with you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No, people who know that band, they know. And Bonnie Raitt probably was an inspiration a little bit to you. Yeah.
Big time. I have a groove that nobody else can play. But that's what they think down there. If you want to get that, you got to get out. That kind of thing. And I learned that. It all happened one night when I was playing, and I just got into this groove. And it's actually me. Bonnie's band all the players by themselves weren't doing any groove thing, but the whole band was doing it. So I learned how to do that because I wanted to be able to feel all that, and that's how that groove came along. They call it the stank down there.
So you learned the groove from Bonnie's band.
All the guys that played in the band, the session guys, the stank. I go, yep.
Is that your secret sauce, the stank?
Yeah.
What is it like? Kind of like a New Orleans kind of.
Yep, it is kind of, but it's kind of wacky.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of wacky. There's a lot of people can do the stink, but it's not quite.
What song is illustrative of that, of yours? You think?
Come on, if you're coming, maybe.
It's got a great groove.
There's one coming out with Bonnie right now, called Something's Got a Hold of My Heart.
And you wrote it with her?
Nope, wrote it myself.
Oh, and she's taking it, yeah?
Yeah, she called me on the phone. I was driving to Muscle Shoals. She says, "Hey Al, remember that song you tried to get me to do 33 years ago?" I said, "Yeah." We just cut it.
So she had the demo this whole time?
Yeah, she keeps everything. But you can send her 5,000 songs and not get one.
Well, is that what it's like, kind of songwriting for people? You're just kind of flying these songs off, or are people requesting you, or is it just kind of like fishing? You're casting songs off.
Yeah, but with Bonnie, I really wanted that.
You wanted that song?
Yeah, I wanted to have a Bonnie cut.
Oh, you did, yeah.
But the other things you're talking about is they find out about you from songs they heard down there. They pigeonhole you a little bit. See who's going to play this part.
Yeah, do you write with somebody or?
Yeah, always. Way faster.
Because there's two heads?
Yeah.
Better than one, yeah.
And I'm lazy. I'd get up and get a pizza or something.
But you're pretty prolific, though, on your own.
I was.
You getting a little lazy again?
No, I haven't done it. I haven't done it by myself in a long time.
Yeah.
I found out really good lyricists that are better than me.
So you work with lyricists sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think your lyrics are good. They're simple. They're funny.
And a good lyricist can work fast, and it takes me a while to, I don't spend 3 days trying to get it right. They can do it in 3 hours.
Right. What are some of your proudest songs that you've written for people? I know you love that you got the George Jones cut before he went.
Yeah. Harry Connick Jr., Dinah Krall, the Carpenters posthumously, Don Williams, Vince Gill, Randy Travis, got all of them. I think I got most of my heroes, and the girls too, Patty Loveless, Trisha Yearwood. Those in the 90s, the country was great. They had great singers, great songs. It was really good. Good time to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I cleaned up just in time, just in the nick of time. The miracle.
Was there a certain point where you you probably felt fine in NRBQ, but I would assume that once the number one songs start coming in, the hits keep coming for you in Nashville, that you must feel secure, right?
Yeah, I didn't leave for the money. I leave it because something happened. and it was the last thing that was going to ever happen again. So that's when I left.
I grew up. My first NRBQ show was like 1999 or something like that. I was like 14, and I've only seen you play with them at the reunion shows, and it's been amazing to see you play now. I actually think the last time I saw you at Cafe 9 was the best I've ever seen you. I was crying a bunch. Now I'm getting real fanboy, but like what I'm saying is like, I mean, it's amazing to see you, the shape you're in, the shape your voice is in, the way you're playing, how well you're doing. You're an inspiration.
No, I don't think of myself as that at all.
Of course, you don't feel like that.
If you like me, you're in trouble.
I mean, you do a lot of songwriting, and you have that joke about when I figured out I could, make this much money from the couch. Yeah. But do you love playing these shows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do.
I could tell you.
I'm getting old, though.
But you still like to rock.
Yeah. The problem, it's not being on stage. It's the trip and the hotel and all that. It just goes on, and I've been doing it for so long.
We should say we're at the Hyatt House right now, so
yeah,
you're still in hotels.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, especially for New Haven.
I mean, we were doing like 5 gigs a week on the road, not on a bus, in a car. It was when you look back on it, it's great. When you're doing it, it's not great.
Yeah.
When you go back and look.
I guess I never thought of it because, there's the Connie Chung profile on the internet, so you sort of assume that NRBQ's got this big bus with a little bit of space, but...
Once in a great while, we'd have a bus.
Not even a van? Cars?
Cars. Well, there was a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Not a van ever.
That's close quarters.
That'd
a car.
Be awful.
Yeah. Cars, though, so you guys would, maybe drive separately. Not all you guys packed in a car.
Yeah, all 5 of them. All 5 of us, yeah.
I bet it smelled great in there.
What do you mean by that?
So I was going to say that, especially for me, the Cafe 9 shows kind of brought it full circle for me, because that really is like the nexus.
It did for me, too. You know why?
Why?
Because you usually have to listen to your... What do they call them down here?
Monitor.
Here it goes. You see my brain's going.
Usually
on that one, you can listen to the wall. It comes back at you. And I never get to play clubs anymore. So whenever I can sneak in at Cafe 9, that guy really cares about his club and the music he comes in there.
Pre-pandemic, he was doing 10 shows a week. I mean, it's hard to find anywhere of original music.
Yeah.
So
he's a good guy.
It was awesome to see those 2 shows there. What's next for you?
Good question. Maybe nothing. How's that?
That's fine. You earn nothing, Al.
Right.
So yeah.
I can do anything I want.
Al, do you think people grow up too fast?
These days, I don't know. I'm really out of it. I don't even understand anything. It's crazy. It's a crazy world out there. I'm glad I came along when I did. It was the perfect time just in time for rock and roll. To be able to know country before that is important too. And then the NRBQ, which did everything, it was a school, basically.
Was it a thrill then, like when, somebody like Keith or Paul McCartney or Lou Reed, any of those guys, if they came to a show and said, this is great, did that thrill you, or was it just like, But we never saw these people. We heard later that they liked it. Yeah.
The Keith Richards got to take Joey out and put him in the movie. We didn't know that he was there.
Oh, he didn't mention it to you
Steve
guys.
Jordan brought him.
Mm.
And the Ramones, they all came. They were great. We went and saw them in Georgia. I loved it. It was great.
Did everyone in NRBQ like him?
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
I don't know, but we all went. 2-minute song. Great.
Wow, I did not know you guys love that punk stuff. That's
I'm going for me.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Speaking for me.
No, it's great. Because I love there's some bootleg where the Magic Box, you guys get Whip It by Devo, and you say, we're not doing that robot music.
If we didn't know what was in the Magic Box, we just made something up.
And one of my favorite Magic Box moments that I've heard on tape is you do the Drifters under the boardwalk. You do it great.
Really? I'd like to hear that.
You must have met Ventures guys, Noki Edwards and all those guys at some point, yeah?
Met them?
Yeah.
No,
No?
never
Oh,
did.
wow.
Link Ray. Not many people know, but he sang on Get a Grip. Doing the "Come on, baby, now get a grip," and the whole band singing it together.
I did not know
He
that.
came
at
to
all.
Electric Lady. That's when we did the record.
He must have been a hero of yours.
Not till later. I didn't realize the value of stupidity. I mean that in
In the best way.
yeah. I mean, some of the greatest rock and roll is horrible. But he knew how to, he was really great.
Yeah.
I mean, that song is the most dangerous rumble. Unbelievable. And he wouldn't talk to you if he was it's one of those things. I can't, you could ask him questions or anything. The perfect, not going to take any shit from you. He had that attitude whether he had it or not.
Mm-hmm. Advice for people trying to get into music.
If you feel it, just really what you want to do, you gotta hang in there through the shit, because there's going to be a lot of it.
Yeah, but
on the way up. It's worse on the way down. Do it for love. Good talking to you, man.
Great talking to you, Al. Thanks.